Week 1 on Folksy. Did I find an alternative to selling on Etsy? I decided to try an experiment with trying to find a replacement for selling on Etsy because, as I said in part 1, Etsy is getting more problematic every year and it's never good to have all your eggs in one basket. After much consideration, and honestly, there isn't much out there, Etsy really does have the monopoly. I decided to try selling on Folksy. So, this is week 1, where I just uploaded a listing around every day using images that do well on Etsy and the basic ideas for tags and titles that I use on Etsy. So, how did my listings on this teeny platform do compared to my established, although currently quiet, Etsy shop? Creating my first listing, I was surprised that it was fairly easy. One thing that had put me off in the past was trying to learn a new system when I already knew how to work Etsy. This time around, it seemed like a stripped down version of Etsy. I actually have more options here for shipping, which is great. But I remembered the whole Lucid thing for shipping to Germany. This is something that's causing me issues on Etsy. I've not figured out the paperwork, and Etsy doesn't give any option for me to just not ship to one country. But I see on Folksy I could just exclude the EU. But I decided to dig in and do a little research, and here's great news. If you enter your Lucid ID into Folksy, they know you're registered. And if you don't want to or can't ship to Germany, then just leaving that blank means your items will not be shown in Germany. So that's actually 1 point to Folksy over Etsy. We can have 15 tags and they seem to be unlimited long. After I checked, it's actually a total of 250 characters for all tags combined. That's interesting. And the examples seem to suggest that duplication is not a worry. I wonder if the algorithm mixes and matches keywords across the tags or if it's exact match only. I see some experiments in my future. You can only add photos, no videos on Folksy. I'm not planning doing too much research on Folksy this week, just creating listings. But one thing I see is it very much looks like Folksy is designed for renewing, relisting your listings. A quick look at their paid subscription level and how they feature the newest listings on the homepage gives me an idea that the algorithm might be a little basic and more like Etsy from 2010. We'll see. So once I have a couple of listings listed, I want to see my stats. How are my listings doing? Okay, Folksy stats are updated only once per day. I kind of like that. It stops people trying to track visits in real time. That's another one to Folksy, but the stats do seem very limited, and you can only see the past 7 days, so there's a point to Etsy. Day 3, a kind of rather amazing thing happens. Right at the top of the Folksy homepage, they have Folksy Favourites, which seems to be a curated list of items on Folksy. You can click through and see more, and I had a massive shock when I saw my little bookmark there. And on that day, my stats jumped all the way to around 180 views. Sadly, at that point, of course, I didn't realize I wouldn't be able to go back in time and see the stats again. So I didn't get a screenshot, I'm afraid. I didn't see that listing on the actual Folksy homepage. Except for once briefly a couple of days later. So I guess that page scrolls through the favorited listings and you're not there for very long. But it was cool. But even way back in 2010, getting featured on the Etsy homepage resulted in massive amounts of sales and thousands of views. So I do worry here a little that 180 views might suggest Folksy is not that popular. Day 4, and actually the most amazing thing happened. I got a sale. And not even from that featured item. Hilariously enough, just after I got that Folksy sale, I got a sale on Etsy. My shop over there has been crazy quiet for the past couple of months. And to be fair, I haven't really worked on it. But it did feel like Etsy was being a jealous boyfriend, only giving me attention because someone else was being nice. Great news with the sale meant that I could test how easy Folksy's shipping is. There are no shipping labels like Etsy, so that's actually one plus to Etsy. I know I was slow to join in with the Etsy shipping labels, but now I do them, I like them. On Folksy, I had to copy the address into some other software to print it out. I could have purchased it from the post office website, but it's not actually an extra hardship to pay at the post office counter. And then on Folksy, I just had to mark it as shipped. They didn't need a tracking number, and I don't even see a place to add one. I guess I could have messaged my customer, but I don't even know how to do messages yet. That's a job for future, Pam. As is calculating how much the fees ended being. Folksy do say that fees are less than Etsy, but as my payments go into PayPal, I'll have to check the payment processing versus PayPal fees as well. Again, another job for future, Pam. So, an impressive first week indeed. It could be that I was just very lucky getting featured, but a sale in the first week would be very unexpected for many new sellers on Etsy. Now, on to week two, where I plan to find out what SEO there is for Folksy. If you missed why I'm experimenting with other platforms, click here. And if you want to see how week two went, don't forget, subscribe.